Okay, so thankful story, Anna.
Okay, so I am thankful for all the members who have sent me supportive messages, not just this year, but over the last 2.5 years. You guys are amazing, and there have been countless moments countless moments where I felt I questioned whether I wanted to continue doing this as a career, because it's not fun these days. But you guys keep me strong, and I really appreciate it. But I wanted to also highlight a few specific members. So first, Al Belzo, he's supported me and been such a great person for I don't know how many years. I feel like since the very beginning, since I started working here. And when I was having electrical issues at my place, he gave me some expert advice on how to fix it. And I'm glad that I did not electrocute myself, so thank you, Al. And the second member that I'd like to thank is Marissa, who's been a member since 2014. And she actually hired me to help her design her bathroom remodel. And it was awesome. I believe we have photos of her. There she is.
Oh, wow.
Hey,
man,
Marissa.
you prepared ahead of time, Anna.
I did. There she is.
Okay, way to trump us, if you will.
There she is with her cute little doggy. So she.
I didn't bring pictures of dogs. We're never going to keep up with Anna. No, this is how she wins competitions on how to signing up more members. All right. Sorry.
I didn't even think about that when prepping this, but I wanted to show her some love, show Al some love. Marissa. It's funny because I feel like if we lived in the same area, we would likely be very close friends. And I don't say that lightly. I don't just say things like that. We're so similar. When I was in Hawaii vacationing, she was in Hawaii vacationing.
What were the chances?
What were the chances? She and her husband, I feel like bought a fixer-upper the same time that I bought a fixer-upper. And so she's going through the remodeling stuff, I'm going through the remodeling stuff. And I just feel like, she's very relatable, and I love hearing from her and, just following what she's going through in her life.
She is a master catfish artist. I mean, that's because you were going to stumble on those pictures of that girl with the dog on stock images.
No.
It turns out it's Bar Raffaelli.
That's hilarious.
Okay.
She's never been to Hawaii. What are you talking about? She's not married.
No, we started communicating through Instagram, but like she's got a lot of pictures.
I'm kidding.
Of course it's real. We're just messing with you.
Yeah.
So look, and then I don't know if you want to talk about it or if he wants to talk about it, but a member helped save one of your family members.
Yeah. I have talked about it in the past, but Jordan. I don't want to give his last name in case he's uncomfortable with it, but his name's Jordan, and he donated his kidney to my mom. And if it weren't for him, I'm certain my mom wouldn't be alive today.
And what was his prior relationship with you and your mom?
Zero, no relationship. He was a TYT viewer who I had communicated with him in the past. He wanted to run a philanthropic arm of TYT, which we just didn't end up doing. And that was how we kind of got to know each other a little bit. I was gonna possibly coordinate that effort if it went through. And then he heard about what my mom was going through and said that he wanted to donate his kidney to my mom.
And so every once in a while you hear us talking about great Christians on the show. So Jordan's a wonderful Christian. He was a pastor. So whenever I get down on religion, I think of Jordan, and I think of how
amazing he is.
Yeah, and how religious folks are some of the religious folks are the best of us. And so we get frustrated with some of the right-wing religious people, and if you're a Christian, you should get even more frustrated with them because they're, ruining what people's sense of religion and Christianity is. And when in reality, there's some people who are the most amazing folks on earth that are so selfless that do things like that. So yeah, that's a great story, and that's why I often say we're all the Young Turks together, because look, they've saved our lives in a lot of ways. They've made this show possible, and that's why we're doing this Thanksgiving special to thank them. So I'll throw in one. I got a million on the things that I'm thankful for the members for, but just a couple that I always remember. I don't know why it sticks in my mind so much because there's been so many of these, but so now going the other direction, religious people who have come up and said, I grew up evangelical Christian, or a couple of them said they grew up more fundamentalist Muslim, and that we changed their minds, and they feel liberated. And it depends on the brand of religion, that you believe in. I don't mean Islam versus Christianity or Judaism. I mean, what kind of Christianity? Fundamentalist or a giving kind, one that believes in the Sermon on the Mount, etc. And I remember this woman that came up at Harvard when we were doing the Fusion show there, and she came up afterwards and said that we gave her the strength to come out and tell her parents that she didn't want to live by the old customs and she wanted to go out on her own, and that she was actually, that was not well received. I thought it was going to have an ending where, and her parents realize it's okay and they live in America, etc. No, the parents and her brother, unfortunately, were cruel to her. But she said through the show she got the courage to leave, and that and she was crying, and we hugged, and she says she's now so happy because she's actually getting to live in a way that she wants to live. And Anna, I brought that up because a lot of the women who come up talking about that, talk about you being a role model for them, and of a strong woman who speaks her mind and does what she wants. And to me, that's amazing.
So everything that I thought I would love about working in this industry ended up being things that I actually don't like, and things that I didn't expect ended up being my favorite parts of working here and being part of the media. I never expected to be a role model, never expected to inspire anyone. I just wanted to talk about the news. I wanted to interview interesting people. And look, I do love those parts of it still, but don't like the public figure aspect of it, which I didn't even really think about getting into it. And so it's hard. Like there are like the kinds of news that we cover, the types of topics we cover. It's all pretty grim these days, and getting these messages from women, and it's hard because men and women in this line of work do get treated differently, right? And so no one can trigger right-wing men like I do. Like right-wing men are obsessed with me, right? And like just right now on Twitter, some dude posted this ridiculous Photoshop picture of me allegedly without makeup. And so they go out of their way to Photoshop things, do those deep fakes where they take my image and they put it into porn and it looks super realistic. Like I deal with that stuff on a regular basis. They get triggered because I told, racist, white nationalists, neo-Nazis that I'm better than them and they can't handle it. So, and like the targeting has been pretty aggressive, but you guys keep me strong. So I just want to thank you for that. And I'm gonna keep fighting because you guys give me a reason to do it.
Yeah, it's hard, it's easy sometimes to get down. I'm gonna say one more thing about that, and then I want to get your story, Ben. Some guy wrote an email to me, I think maybe 2 years ago, and it's funny with the things we remember and don't. And look, guys, we get a ton of hate all the time. So getting some of that love back, it just balances it out a little bit. So we really, really appreciate it. And so, and we're doing this fun competition to sign up more members through the names. And Anna's kicking our ass, and I'm saying it's not fair because it's you're the woman and etc.
It's not fair because I'm the woman.
It's such a Trumpian thing. It's totally unfair what Anna's doing to us. Totally unfair. Anyway, you can sign up through tyt.com/Anna if you want, tyt.com/Cenk, Ben, etc. Anyway, and this guy wrote in a couple of years ago, and he said, I was a freedom rider back in the civil rights movement, and then I'd given up. Because it didn't look like we were going to get any change. And it was, decade after decade of nothing, right? The civil rights era was amazing, got a lot accomplished, and then we ran into a wall. And he said, now I'm back, and I'm fighting for change, and I got that through the Young Turks, but then he joined Wolfpack. And he's like, and riding for freedom again, so we can get money out of politics, get our democracy back. So to know that we got people energized again, that's amazing. I'll tell you one last one about Wolfpack that just happened 2 weeks ago. And so if you don't know, wolf-pack.com, that's a group to get money out of politics and get a constitutional amendment. A woman wrote an email saying that she's terminally ill, and so she didn't want her credit card to be charged to her daughter when she passes away. I just wanted to clarify. But if there was anyone who was willing to pick up the baton and to keep going, that she would appreciate that. That's super powerful. So it's impossible for us not to feel incredibly thankful to all of you guys for all these amazing stories and an amazing fight to get our country back. And in this case, to get it back for democracy in the way that things actually were at one point. All right, Ben, I know you don't love the tradition of
giving thanks.
Giving thanks, yeah.
No, makes my skin crawl.
What a dick.
Yours were. Amen, sister. I want to thank the Rams for pulling out a push last night. I mean, that bet seemed lost.
Yeah,
you give up 51 points, you
that's
expect to lose your money, but I got a push at -3, so that was good.
No, I was still.
I mean, I'm pissed that I could have had it -2.5 earlier in the week, but whatever. So that's it. Anyway, thanks. I can be cynical, but I think it masks an optimism buried somewhere deep down. People. I don't think people turn out to vote, and they don't in general. I mean, we still have, even though the numbers were good this midterm, compared to what it ought to be, right? But we're not an engaged country because we want to buy things and we want to talk about the Kardashians, and we're incredibly self-absorbed and involved in our own little micro worlds, right? But people did turn out, and Donald Trump got 63 million, just under 63 million votes in 2016 for president. Hillary got about, as you know, about 66 million.
Fake news.
Just under, right? Democrats, by the time all the voting is finished, and it's nearly finished, will have gotten 61 million votes in a midterm election for House of Representatives.
That's stunning. Midterm elections are way lower turnout than a presidential election.
And finally, there's some coverage of this. I was just talking to our friend Charlie Tabish, who I don't know that you've met, but impossible not to like Charlie, about how to grade these midterms. Like, what's your... And initially I'd been like at a B-, but that was because I was really feeling Florida the day after. And as time has gone on, I'm like, this is easily a B+, and it might be an A-. And part of that is because those numbers are staggering. In 2010, and the coverage has started to swing that way. In 2010, when what was a undeniable Tea Party sweep for the Republicans and one of the most memorable midterm elections covered. Do you know how many votes the Republicans got?
How many
votes they got?
seats?
No, how many votes they got? Well, I've just told you Democrats got 61 million. How many votes in the midterm in 2010? Exactly. 2 years into Obama.
I'm going to guess 52.
45?
45 million votes.
Wow.
Nicely done.
That's a stunning fact.
16 million more votes for Democrats this time, and they won by about 9 points. And I am grateful that in part because of the work that you guys do, and I hopefully contribute to a little bit, that people recognize the danger, no matter where on the Democratic spectrum or where on the left spectrum you fall, whether you're a old school mainstream, whether you're even a conservative Democrat, but you recognize that, hey, this is different. These guys pose a very real and grave threat. And they need to be stopped. And that was this was only the first step, but it was a really good step. And so I'm taking it to an A-.
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'll end this segment on a fun story. So I'm also thankful for America. So I was just at a diner at lunch. This is a typical segment that Ben and I do on Old School. Become a member, check that out, tyt.com/join. All right, anyway, and I had chicken and waffles. And the waffles were delicious. I had it with a Coke. And I
You
literally
gotta stop working out, Jim.
I know, I gotta stop. I'm in too good a shape. That's why I went to
He
chicken
works
waffles.
out so he can have the chicken and
That's
waffles
right.
and the
That's
Coke.
right.
Yeah.
I earned this, okay? And so I literally closed my eyes in the middle of the diner and went like this.
Yeah, well, you've
Okay.
done that all.
Okay, and then the chicken was delicious, etc. But anyway, I'm telling you this story because I'm in a super America mood. We're almost at Thanksgiving, and I'm feeling thankful for all the waffles and the etc. And then there's this cute family. It's a dad, a grandfather, and a little daughter. And she's a little, rascally, okay, and she's causing a little bit of trouble. And then dad gets a call, and he's got to step outside. And the grandpa looks at her like, oh no, right? Like you could sense like he's gonna have trouble corralling her, right? And so he's trying to tell her, no, dad's gonna come back and everything's gonna be fine. And she's like, no, daddy, daddy, daddy. And he goes, it's not time for daddy, it's time for reality.
Did it work?
Actually kind of did. She did calm down after that. And I thought, America. The TYT Plus app is now available on iOS and Android. Download to get more TYT content at tyt.com/app.